Now, his whereabouts remains a mystery, and this morning the case of Edward Snowden, the American intelligence contractor who leaked details of a massive US surveillance operation, is now having a real effect on international relations. The US believes Mr. Snowden is still in Moscow and is warning Russia that relations will be damaged if he's not handed over.
The one-time intelligence analyst Edward Snowden is on the run from U.S. law enforcement. Officials believe Snowden is still in Moscow after WikiLeaks arranged for his flight from Hong Kong on Sunday. The administration wants Russia to send him back to the U.S. for prosecution.
We're following all the appropriate legal channels and working with various other countries to make sure that rule of law is observed.
The White House is furious. Neither Hong Kong nor Beijing heeded Washington's demand to hand him over.
American officials have directed unspecified threats at the Chinese territory of Hong Kong, who let Snowden slip away to Moscow over a legal technicality.
The relationships that we have, we are just not buying that this was a technical decision by a Hong Kong immigration official. This was a deliberate choice by the government to release a fugitive despite a valid arrest warrant, and that decision unquestionably has a negative impact on the U.S.-China relationship.
Meanwhile, the U.S. has increased pressure on Moscow to hand over the fugitive, who is still believed to be there.
We are obviously in conversations, and that we are working with them or discussing with them, or rather expecting them to look at the options available to them to expel Mr. Snowden back to the United States to face justice for the crimes with which he is charged.
Snowden has requested asylum in Ecuador, and the country's president, Rafael Correa, refuses to be kowtowed by US pressure and announced on his Twitter page that his government will give serious consideration to his request.
After Washington annulled his passport, the former NSA consultant cannot technically cross any borders. Still, Hong Kong officials says he boarded a plane to Russia using all the necessary legal documents.
We were asking the United States government for further important information on the case, and there was no legal basis to stop Mr. Snowden from leaving Hong Kong.
But the US also worries Snowden might seek refuge in a country willing to protect him from extradition.
That he is wanted by the legal process of the United States. Now, historically, we've always known there are some countries that play outside of that process.
State Department officials say they believe Russian authorities did not allow Snowden to leave the country in consideration of the U.S. position. Snowden arrived in Moscow on Sunday from Hong Kong, but he did not board a plane on Monday for the Cuban capital, Havana, even though his name was on the passenger list. Ecuador's Foreign Minister Ricardo Patiño says Snowden requested asylum. He says the U.S. Embassy in Ecuador requested his government not comply. But he stressed a decision will be made in line with Ecuadorian law and UN resolutions on human rights. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange gave a news conference on Monday by phone from Ecuador's embassy in London, where he's staying. He stressed Snowden is not a traitor or a spy, but a whistleblower who exposed injustice.